Alright guys, welcome to this updated triple imbuement rogue guide. Now, I've been messing around the last couple of days. I've been messing around with rogue builds since the beginning, really. I don't really watch too many guides and stuff. I only watch what's necessary. Because I like to find my own builds, and I've been testing out this triple imbuement rogue. Because I was thinking there is so many broken synergies if you use 3 imbuments. So I figured it might be a good idea to test it out, and I've been loving it. Now, of course, there's 100 different ways you can play this build, and there's different item synergies and stuff you guys can use, but this is just what I'm using currently. My Paragon board could be better. I'm still, messing around with it, so I'll probably make some updates to it, but I'll give you guys my thoughts and everything on that as well. So let's just get straight into the build. Now, I have been testing some different items lately, because I've been trying to push a little bit higher nightmares and stuff. But currently I'm running with the shared misery on the helmet, and then we got the manglers on our chest. Now this is different from previously what I ran, if you look at my previous video, simply because I used disobedience here, and then my pants had something else on them, but I figured like manglers just works great with shared misery. We already have a lot of synergy with shared misery through the freeze and all of the slow and stuff we do, but adding manglers on top of that is just going to make us survive a lot more because we get the daze in there as well. On our gloves we're running bursting venoms. On our pants we're now running disobedience. The boots is penitent greaves. This is best in slot boots for this build, simply because you constantly chill enemies and they're constantly going to be crowd control, and with this build you have a lot of crowd control damage. So this is best in slot. If you don't have penitent greaves yet, you could always swap it out for anything else that has like protector or something to help you survive a little bit more. That's usually recommended just because we need to get into the face of all the enemies. You can mess around with that, but I would recommend probably going some sort of like defense then instead. On the crossbow we got Blade Dancer, of course, with the 100% bonus because on the crossbow. On the amulet we're now running with cheats. So the reason why I changed my, I usually had this one, corruption, on my necklace, but the reason why I changed these two is just because I figured that I need some more survivability in the higher tiers, so cheats definitely helps me with that. It's a pretty low roll on the imprint, but I figured like the extra survivability is really nice, but if you're really not struggling, you could always put something more aggressively on your amulet, and for instance put like corruption up here. That's also a possibility. For the first ring we're running unstable imbuments. This is a must-have simply because it's really important to get all of those imbuement effects off. And then bursting venice is also pretty mandatory, to be honest. And then we have the icy alchemist ring. Really important as well, honestly, because of the fact that whenever we hit a chilled or frozen enemy with shadow imbuement, which is going to be our main damaging AoE ability, it's also going to add extra AoE on top of that already, and it's going to explode. So for our weapons we're running with corruption and shadow slicer. Now shadow slicer, you can change it out, but the reason why I like shadow slicer is because it adds the daze on our enemies, because through our skills, since we're running with disciplined dash, our dash is going to slow them, and then the shadow clone is actually going to daze them when he uses dash, or she uses dash. So that's why shadow slicer is really nice and I really enjoy it. But again, you could go for other offensive things and test it out, but this is what I'm running currently. So that's it for the items. Let's take a look at, well, we can quickly look at the specializations as well. I'm running inner sight for the most part. I have been testing it with combo points, and that is why it's really nice to test out with condemnation. If you have that unique dagger, you can actually try the triple combo points and put the condemnation in here, and it actually works really well. So that's fun to try as well, but for the most part I just run inner sight. as for the skills, we have 3 points into puncture, and then we run with 5 points into twisting blades, into advancing twisting blades, 3 points into sturdy and siphoning strikes. Down here we have weapon mastery. We got, of course, the disciplined dash. I'm also testing with concussive and trick attacks simply because we have the manglers now. Before I didn't run with concussive and stuff because we didn't really daze them as much, but now because of manglers this is actually really nice. Then we have 3 points into exploit and 3 points into malice. I just have an item. My amulet gives me 3 ranks into malice. And of course vulnerable damage is always nice. So I would almost say that this is abyss on the amulet for us. We got 3 points consuming shadows, 1 shadow crash, blended shadow imbuement, mixed poison imbuement. And then we have deadly venom and alchemical advantage. Now previously I also ran with 3 points into debilitating toxins. And you can, if you struggle to survive, and you could probably take some points out of your damage in deadly venom. You could probably even take 1 point out of consuming shadows, to be honest, and put them into debilitating toxins, just for some more survivability. Now, the bread and butter here, though, is going to be frigid finesse. Because of our boots, we deal constantly 15% increased damage, and this bonus will increase to 30 for frozen enemies. And as you can see on the bottom, or right under it, it says that repeatedly chilling an enemy will freeze it. So when we attack the enemies and we have the cold imbuement going, we're actually going to freeze them with twisting blades. So we're actually going to get 30% bonus a lot of the time. So this is just amazing. Then of course we got precision imbuement, more critical strike chance. We got nothing here, but if you do want, you could take some points out of some of these, like for instance, you could take some points out of sturdy if you really want or something, and put them into haste just to get some more movement speed if you feel like you're slow. But we actually do get movement speed from crit striking and stuff, so it does definitely help. Anyways, we also got momentum, and that's pretty much it for the skills. So let's just get into the Paragon board now. This one is not optimized at all right now, but this is currently what I find to be very good. So in the starting board here, we're of course picking up the damage nodes here, skillful and lawless as well, and we start with the infusion. Now you could put this on a different board if you would like to, but you definitely need this. So if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of Paragon points, I would definitely recommend you guys put infusion first, just because it really helps with the flow of gameplay. Because as you can see, whenever you cast an imbuement skill, it reduces the active cooldown of another random imbuement skill. So because we usually start in frost into shadow, and then because of the bursting venom gloves that we have right here, once we have this toxic pool, we can spam poison imbuement. And what's that gonna do is that it's going to start to reduce the cooldown of both our cold and our shadow imbuement. So it just adds a lot of flow to the build and all, in general, and that's why I just really enjoy it. And this build is very active, okay, so it's a lot of flow in the build, and it's very active, and you have a lot of different options with how you handle situations, and that's part of the reason for that. Now on the next board, I now have turf. Now this is nice, but what I really want to have on this board is actually to have combat. And the simple reason I want combat here is because it increases critical strike damage with core skills. Okay, I can't do it because I don't have 25 intelligence here. I need to upgrade it. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'll put that here because if you see, we go over to the cunning stratagem board over here, and that's going to increase our core skill damage with some of the nodes here in general, right? And so if we put the combat glyph over here, that's going to work really nice with each other because critical strike damage is multiplicative. So yeah. Now as for glyphs, well, we can finish first. We also put the exploit here. Again, we're rogue, we really like vulnerable damage, so this is also a really important node. And we go up here, we of course pick up the core skill damage and stuff. And then we're probably going to go down here and exit the board. We don't really care about this legendary node. The reason we use this board is because of the core skill damage, and it's really quick down to the glyph and then exit out the board. Sorry about that. So that's how it's looking currently. Now, as for other glyphs, if you guys have more Paragon points and if you just want to know like what I'm kind of messing around with whenever I'm doing my Paragon board, it's going to be combat is a really good one. Turf you can do, I mean close damage reduction and damage to close is always pretty nice. You got exploit, infusion of course, and then closer is something that I also really want to have. So I'm going to be putting that in, and I'm probably just going to get rid of turf because I would rather buff my skills damage directly rather than to just have close target damage, because this is just an additive damage. So we're probably going to remove turf, we're going to put in combat, we're going to put in closer, and as for the next one that we really want is control. And the reason we want control is because we deal 10% increased damage to slow or chilled. Now, because of our boots that leaves a trail that chills people, we're actually constantly going to have basically a 10% damage increase. And if we freeze them, we're going to get a 20% damage increase. So this control glyph is something that we also definitely want. But yeah, I need to upgrade them a little bit because I don't really have much choice with the second board right now, but I really want to have cheap shot and I want to have the damage to crowd control here. So I'm just gonna have to do some nightmares and upgrade this, but this is currently what I'm doing. So again, we're gonna put combat here probably, either combat or closer there to buff our twisting blades, and then we're gonna go down and we need to put our control in as well. But that's it for the Paragon board, guys. Now this is going to be updated, so if I do find some updates here, if I find some smarter ways to make this, I will definitely make a video to upgrade the Paragon board. But that's it for the skills, the Paragon board, and the items. Now I will add some gameplay towards the end here, and I'll try to just illustrate to you guys a little bit how you play this build, because I've been having a ton of fun with it. It's very versatile, and I'll try to illustrate why it is. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the gameplay and the combos, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright guys, so in this first clip I'm just going to demonstrate what happens even if you screw up a little bit. Jump it with ice and then into shadow, and I'm actually going to stun them while they stun me, which allows me to survive enough to be able to dash out and kill the last elites. So it just showcases how strong the CC is in this build and why it's so good. And then we're just going to do the cleanup here. And we're going to jump into the next dungeon. Now, this is Core Dragon, level 32, so they're about 12 levels above me, I think. So here we're actually going to dash in, use cold imbuement, and then shadow, and then dash back out, and then dodge back in. And the reason we do this is just to be able to dodge the CC there. You saw the red circle on the ground there? I was able to effectively dodge that because of that. Here, same thing, we're going to use cold and shadow, and then we're going to save our poison in order to deal with the last elite. And we're just going to move straight into the next room here. We're going to wait for our cold imbuement to come back up, and our shadow, and then we can start dealing our damage. And you can just see how effective and mobile this build is, and how much AoE damage you can put in a large area. Which is just why I really love this build. And you're constantly going to have skills that you can use in order to clear effectively. Now we're going to be moving on, same thing here in the room, and you can see just how effective this build is, even with a lot of elites. Up here I'm just going to show you guys a quick way to kill trash. You let them walk into your chill around you, and you can just dodge backward to get that extra XP if you just want to clear the trash mobs following you. Now we're walking over to the Blood Boil. We're going to start hitting it with some Twisting Blades, and then wait for our Frost Explosion, and then into Shadow. And then we can start using Poison to try to reduce the cooldown of the other imbuments. We do get feared here. We're just going to activate Shadow to clear the trash real quick and get those Twisting Blades going, and then we can use the Poison for the last elite again. Now I could use Frost here, but I like to keep one imbuement up if I don't have to use it. It's always nice. Just in case something unexpected happens, you never know where the butcher is. Walking through here, same thing. Blood boils again, same thing. We're just using our cold into our shadow. And then just basically dealing AoE in a massive area. Here's just some elites. Kind of the same thing right here. Get that explosion off. And as you can see, just because we're so mobile with dash, we're able to just clear one area, dash right over and clear the next area as well, which is just really nice. You can kill several groups very quickly. Here we don't have our cold imbuement, but we can just use shadow and poison. So this just shows again just how nice it is with this build to just be able to have all of these imbuments up. Because there's something for each situation, and I really enjoy that. On here, just the next blood boil. We're gonna be pretty much the same thing with the AoE. And this last one is just a quick, nice way of clearing trash again. We're gonna save our shadow imbued dash. And when I walk into this next room, I'm letting them walk into my boost chill and then just dash through and they're all just gonna die. Alright, so that's it for the video, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys try out this build. It is a ton of fun. So hopefully you liked it. Leave a comment down below, subscribe, like the video, and let me know what you guys think. If you've tried it, if there's any questions you have about the build, feel free to do that. You can also join me on Twitch, The Flying Juiceman. So make sure to check that out, and have a nice day, guys.